So if your relationships are broken, your finances are limited, your confidence is low, it's not because you're not enough. It's because you're running on outdated mental programming. Your mind is the operating system of your life. If your mind is full of viruses, limiting beliefs, your life will keep crashing. To redesign your life, you must first debug and upgrade your mental software. You know, people walk around every day frustrated with their life, angry at their results, blaming their circumstances, doubting their potential, and they don't realize that the issue isn't out there. The issue is in their mind. See, your mind is the operating system of your life. Everything you do, say, or experience is being filtered through how your mind is wired. That's not just motivational talk. That's psychology and neuroscience. You cannot live beyond the framework of your thinking. Think of your life like a smartphone. You can have the latest iPhone, the sharpest camera, the most powerful battery, but if the software is outdated or corrupted, none of that matters. It'll glitch, it'll lag. It won't function the way it was designed to. That's how most people live. They're equipped with God, given potential, but they're still running on mental software from 10, 20, even 30 years ago. Maybe it was something a parent said, maybe it was a failure in high school, maybe it was poverty growing up. And now that mental code is still running silently in the background, dictating decisions, relationships, confidence, and even income, you're not broken. Your software is just outdated. But here's the good news. Software can be updated. Your mind can be rewired. That's the beauty of being human. You are not fixed. You are moldable. Philosophers call it self-actualization. Psychologists call it neuroplasticity. I call it grace in motion, the ability to become something greater than where you started. So stop trying to fix your life from the outside in. Start rewiring from the inside out, because once the operating system changes, everything else responds. You're not stuck. You're just programmed. And every program can be rewritten. Beliefs are installed. They're not innate. What you believe about money, success, relationships, and yourself was installed usually by people who weren't living the life you want. You can uninstall those beliefs and replace them with truth. Let's get something straight. Your beliefs didn't come from nowhere. You weren't born thinking you weren't good enough. You didn't come into this world doubting your worth, fearing success, or believing money was evil. That stuff got installed. You picked it up from your parents, teachers, friends, media, the environment you grew up in. You were taught how the world works, but the people teaching you didn't always know what they were talking about, and a lot of them were just repeating what they were taught. Beliefs are not facts, they're just thoughts you've rehearsed so many times that your brain accepted them as the truth. That's how the mind works. It seeks consistency, not accuracy. So once a belief is planted, especially at a young age, it becomes the lens through which you interpret every experience. If you believe you're not smart, you'll ignore all your wins and highlight every mistake. If you believe money is scarce, you'll always feel like you're behind even when you're making more than enough. And that belief system becomes the invisible fence that keeps you from chasing what's truly possible. But here's the real breakthrough. If beliefs were installed, they can be uninstalled. You can challenge them, question them, replace them. It's like remodeling a house. You don't have to tear the whole thing down, but you do need to knock out the walls that are keeping you confined. Start asking yourself, where did this belief come from? Who gave it to me? Were they qualified to define my potential? Most of the time, the answer is no. You've been living inside someone else's blueprint long enough. Rip it up, write your own, because freedom begins the moment you realize this. You don't have to believe everything you believe. Thoughts become things, but beliefs control the thoughts. Rewiring your mind is not about just thinking positive. It's about believing truth deeply enough that new, powerful thoughts become your default. You've probably heard the phrase, your thoughts become things. And yeah, that's true to a point. But if you stop there, you miss the deeper layer. Thoughts don't just pop out of nowhere. They're produced by your belief system. In other words, the real power isn't in the thought. It's in the belief behind the thought. That's what's driving the whole show. You can try to think positive all day, but if deep down you believe you're not worthy, you're just putting a fresh coat of paint on a crumbling wall. The foundation's still shaky. That's why a lot of people feel like they're spinning their wheels. They've read the books, listened to the podcasts, said the affirmations, but nothing's changing because the belief underneath hasn't shifted. Beliefs are the root, thoughts are the fruit. You can try to change the fruit, but if the root system is toxic, you'll keep producing the same stuff. That's not a motivational idea. It's psychological truth. Your subconscious beliefs control the quality and consistency of your thoughts. And your thoughts are what create your habits, your patterns, and eventually your life. This is why mindset work is deeper than just be confident or think big. That's surface level. You've got to dig into why your mind doesn't naturally go there. Who told you you couldn't win? Why do you freeze up when opportunity shows up? That's the real work. You don't need more motivation. You need a mental reset at the belief level. Once your beliefs change, your thoughts follow. Your language changes, your choices shift, and your reality transforms. Here's what I want you to take with you. You don't rise to the level of your thoughts, you fall to the level of your beliefs. So change the floor you're standing on. Neuroplasticity is God's gift to give you a second chance. Science proves it. Your brain can rewire itself. That means your past isn't your prison. It's your platform if you choose to redesign how you process life. One of the most powerful truths we have, one that both science and scripture agree on, is that the mind can be renewed. Psychologists call it neuroplasticity. The Bible calls it the renewing of your mind. Same truth, different language. What it means is this: your brain can change. You're not locked into the way you think right now. You're not stuck with the patterns you learned as a child or the trauma you absorbed as a teen. The mind is not fixed, it's flexible. And that flexibility is a gift. Think about how incredible that is. You can literally rewire your brain to think in new ways. Your neurons can form new pathways. That means you can learn to think like a confident person, speak like a visionary, act like a leader, even if you've never seen it modeled before. You're not limited to your past experiences. You can override them, but it takes intention, it takes repetition, and it takes courage to challenge the mental defaults you've been living with for years. Most people never tap into this. They accept their wiring as final. This is just how I am. No, it's how you learned to be. It's how you adapted. But adaptation is not destiny. You don't have to keep reacting to life the same way just because it feels familiar. Growth is uncomfortable because it asks you to think in ways your brain hasn't rehearsed yet. But the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. So don't let your past define the borders of your future. Your brain has been given the divine ability to transform. Use it. Because at the end of the day, your past may have shaped your mind, but it doesn't get to shape your future unless you let it. Action without mind Sit is like running on a treadmill. You're working hard but staying in place. If your subconscious mind is set for average, you'll sabotage every move toward excellence until you rewire it. Let me break this down. Plain and simple action alone isn't enough. Now, that might sound strange in a world that keeps telling you to hustle harder, grind longer, wake up at 5 a.m., and never sleep, but here's the truth nobody wants to talk about. If your mindset isn't aligned with your goals, all that action turns into busy work. You're not making real progress, you're just burning energy. You're like a hamster on a wheel, moving fast but going nowhere. See, we've been sold this idea that hard work is the answer to everything, but hard work with a broken belief system. That's a trap. You can wake up early, you can build routines, you can chase opportunities, but if your subconscious mind is still programmed for average, or worse, for survival, you'll sabotage your own success. The moment it shows up, people don't fail because they don't work. Most people are working themselves into the ground. They fail because deep down, they don't believe they deserve more than what they have. And that belief pulls them back like gravity, no matter how fast they try to run. This is why rewiring your mind isn't optional. It's essential. You've got to believe at your core that you are meant for more, that you are capable, that wealth, peace, love, and purpose are not just possible, they're available to you. Once your mindset shifts, your actions become magnetic. They stick, they build, they multiply. So stop grinding without grounding. Stop chasing without changing. Do the inner work first. Because if your mind is set for limitation, your life will keep shrinking to match it. But if your mind is wired for growth, every step you take becomes a seed, and the harvest will blow your mind. The new mindset must align with a higher standard of identity. Stop asking, "What do I do?" and start asking, "Who must I become?" Because identity drives behavior, and when you redesign your life, you do it by becoming someone new in thought, speech, and deed.